boys and girls. I'm sorry my video is late. I was into Ritter the last 2 days to clean up the library and put all the books away. Miss Roberts was in to help me. And last week I was in 2 days to clean up the central library. So I've been busy putting all the books away that the teachers have been cleaning out of desks and returning. Anyway, let's get to our story today. I have for you the Berenstain Bears Forget Their Manners. I hope while you've been home with Mom and Dad, you've been nice and polite. But in case you haven't, I hope this book reminds you how we should be behaving and treating our brothers and sisters and our Mom and Dad. It's by Jan and Stan Berenstain. Maybe that's why they named the bears, the Berenstain Bears, after themselves. Okay, here we go. There was trouble in the big tree house down a sunny dirt road deep in the bear country. Trouble with manners. The bear family's trouble with manners was that they forgot them. At first, it was just an occasional please or thank you. That was forgotten. Then there was the rude push without an excuse me. Oh, look at brother. There was a reach across the table instead of a please pass the broccoli. Mama Bear wasn't quite sure how or why it happened, but she was sure of one thing. Whatever the reason, the Bear family had become a pushing, shoving, name-calling, ill-mannered mess. Silly head, fuzz brain, noodle puss. I'm sure we say a lot worse, don't we? And sometimes Mommy can get to her wits' end by the end of the day. At the table, it was even worse. There was grabbing, mouth-stubbing, food fighting, hiding under the table, super mess. Yes, sometimes dinner time can get nasty. Of course, Mama Bear tried to correct Brother and Sister Bear's behavior. She tried coaxing, she tried complaining, she tried shouting. She tried going to Papa for help, though it sometimes seemed to Mama that he was part of the problem. Papa banged on the table and shouted as only he could shout, but nothing really seemed to do any good. Mama didn't like what was happening to her family, not one bit. Something had to be done. But what? The best way to fight bad habits, she thought, was with good habits. And then she thought of a plan. She got a big piece of cardboard and a marker, and at the top she wrote the Bear Family Politeness Plan. When the plan was finished, she called a family meeting and showed it to Papa and the Cubs. I wonder what she's going to have on there. Probably similar things to what we have in our classroom for classroom rules, do you think? Here they are. It certainly got the Bear family's attention. The Bear Family Politeness Plan. Rudeness, penalty. Forgetting please or thank you. Sweep the front steps. Pushing or shoving. Beat 2 rugs. Interrupting. Does something. Name calling. Clean the cellar. Reaching at the table. Clean the yard. Playing with food. Wash the dishes. Rude noises. Weed the garden. Banging the door. Clean the attic. Forgetting excuse me. Empty the garbage. Hogging the bathroom. Put out the trash. So if you're rude or have a rude manner, she's got a punishment for it, doesn't she? Mama's plan had a list of all the things she wanted to stop, and beside each one was a penalty, a job, or a chore that went with it. If you forgot a please or a thank you, you had to sweep the front steps. If you pushed or shoved, you had to beat 2 rugs. If you got caught name-calling, you had to clean the whole cellar. I've also heard of people who have like a nickel jar or penny jar, so if you get caught doing one of those things, you got to put a penny in the jar or a nickel in the jar and something like that. Or a little chart where actually if you're doing positive things, you get like a sticker. But Mama sputtered the cubs. "You're not being fair." "Seems to me," she said, "that you're the ones who aren't being fair to yourselves or anyone else. That's what manners are about, being fair and considerate. Manners are very important. They help us get along with each other. Why, without manners—" "Your manners are absolutely right. Your mama's absolutely right," interrupted Papa. Uh-oh, Papa's interrupting. "Thank you, Papa, for your comment. But interrupting is number 3 on the list, and the penalty is dusting," Mama said and handed him the feather duster. Papa got caught first. Said Brother, "this looks serious. I think we'd better come up with a plan of our own, or we're going to be doing a lot of chores." "What sort of plan?" said Sister. "Well," he said, "instead of just being polite, we'd better be super polite. We'll please and thank you so much. Mama will get fed up and call the whole thing off." "Yes," said Sister, "we'll be so polite, she won't be able to stand it. Wouldn't that be great?" They put their plan into action. They were super polite on the stairs. "After you, Sister dear." "Thank you, dear brother." And in the hall, "Excuse me, brother dear." "Why, certainly, my dear sister." Can you see you guys doing that? Can you see yourselves being super polite? "Waiting for the bathroom. Terribly sorry to have kept you waiting." "Think nothing of it, my dear sister." I can't imagine my children ever doing that, being super polite. But it didn't work the way they expected. Mama didn't get fed up at all. And after a while, brother and sister forgot about being super polite and were just polite. At the table, "Pass the honey, please." "Certainly." In their room, "Would you like me to help you pick up your toys?" "Thank you very much." In the yard, "Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to bump you." "That's all right." No harm done. It became a habit, being polite. It just became a habit, something they did naturally. And it turned out that Mama had been right. Things did go more smoothly once they got into the good manners habit, and they didn't even have to think about it. That's the thing. Once you get used to doing it and saying it, it becomes a habit, and you don't even think about it. "Oops, sorry." "Oh, excuse me." It just becomes a habit using good manners. And it's a good habit to get into. But it wasn't so easy for Papa. He was the one who got fed up. It's a little harder to change habits when you're older, and he had to do quite a few extra chores for forgetting his manners. "I'm glad to get out of the house, away from the politeness plan," he said as he drove his family along the highway on a trip to the supermarket. "Manners are courtesies are just as important away from the house, especially on the road," said Mama, as they stopped at a stop sign to let a pedestrian cross. "They help us drive carefully." Sometimes your parents get upset in the car when people are driving too slowly or something happens and they get a little frustrated. Yes. "Well," grumbled Papa as they went into the supermarket, "I think you can have too much of a good thing. You've got to have common sense along with manners. Why, if you let everyone go ahead of you in the checkout, you'd be there forever. And sometimes you have to interrupt." "Excuse me, madam," he interrupted a shopper, "but I believe you have a leaking bottle in your cart." The shopper thanked him for his help. "You see," he said, driving home, "there's more to life than remembering your manners. Besides, manners are all right for cubs and mama bears." Uh-oh. Boink. He drove into the car in front of him. "But we papa bears have other things to think about." And at that moment, the car in front of him stopped suddenly and Papa bumped into it. He was furious. "Why, that pinhead fiddle brain," he snarled. "Name calling," reminded Sister. Oh, Papa Bear. The penalty for name-calling was cleaning the whole cellar. So Papa gritted his teeth and remembered his manners. And a good thing, too, because climbing out of the other car was the biggest, angriest bear he had ever seen. But when the angry bear saw how polite Papa was, he remembered his manners, too. And he explained he had stopped short because a mama duck was crossing with her ducklings in front of him. And then he and Papa looked at their bumpers and saw that no harm had been done. Wasn't that nice? They calmed down because they were both using good manners, or because Papa started using good manners. We both lose our tempers, then it just explodes even bigger. As I was saying, said Papa, they continued on their way, it's very important for us to remember our manners at all times. I don't think Papa was saying that. And I want to thank you, sister, for reminding me to remember mine. You're very welcome, I'm sure, said Sister Bear politely. So I think Papa learned a lesson in the end to use his manners, didn't he? Well, I hope you're all using good manners at home and not getting frustrated with each other because you've been together so long and haven't had a break going to school and being apart. Try and be nice to each other and use good manners. Thank your mom and dad for all they're doing for you. Thank your mommy or your daddy, whoever is making your meals and doing your laundry and cleaning your room and making a nice home for you. It's very important to be thankful, and they will be appreciative. And help your brother and sister out instead of fighting. Help each other. Use good manners, and you'll all get along much better. Good manners are so important, and they're important in school. Helps you get along and make friends, because when you don't and you're always a grumpy grouch and you're pushing and shoving and you're not nice, you don't make friends. So try and use good manners this week. That's my lesson, and that's the Berenstain Bears lesson. Well, we have one more week where I'm going to be reading to you, and then it's summertime. I miss you all so much. Hugs from me, and I will see you next week with one more story. Bye-bye.